Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, Kindred Souls of Brooklyn and Sarasota. And this is a brand new concept that I have. It's called the Daily Disney. So every day I'm going to do a video on Disney, either a short or a video. And let's make it fun. So for today's topic, we're going to do Paranormal at the Magic Kingdom. So stay tuned, hope you enjoy it. This is episode 1 of the Disney Daily. Hey everyone, so welcome to a new series that I'm doing called the Disney Daily. So we're going to talk about today paranormal activity at the Magic Kingdom. And I thought I would start this video here at what I think is probably, now again, paranormal activity, hauntings at the Magic Kingdom. I've worked at the Magic Kingdom, I'd say close to about 8 years, and I've had some experiences there. And I think, partially having someone who's close to me on the other side, meaning my son Matt, I think he kind of protects me a little bit from things like this. But anyway, I think I want to talk about some paranormal activity that I've experienced here at the Magic Kingdom. And so let's get the first one out of the way. Everyone's heard about the famous story. Now, this is my B-roll footage of the Magic Kingdom. That's me if you've never seen one of my videos. This was a video I was doing about bats that were in the Pirates of the Caribbean, which still are there. But anyway, I digress. So essentially, the story of George the welder is very well known in Pirates of the Caribbean. George was a welder who was welding when Pirates of the Caribbean was being built, and he passed away inside the ride. So you might have heard stories about cast members who, if they don't say good morning George and good night George, they have difficulties with the ride during the day. Now, I really can't say as much as I could attest to that, but one thing that I can attest to, which was very strange, and again, I've never had anything touch me. I've never had anything really jump out at me. There have been people to say things like that. But I can tell you that when I was on Dream Squad, which was from 2006 to 2008, I can tell you that whether it was George or something else, they used to do a thing at Pirates of the Caribbean, which I don't think they do anymore. I haven't seen it done for a while. It was called the Captain Jack's tutorial. And it was pretty fascinating because Johnny Depp had to sign off on all the people who were doing this tutorial. And it was basically a guy who looked like Johnny Depp, and he told stories about pirates. And, he put in stories about Pirates of the Caribbean and different things like that. Well, he had an assistant with him, and I forget what the guy was called. He was a British guy, actually. And anyway, the story went, and I could attest to this, was that for some reason, whether it was George or some other entity or some other situation, and I don't think it was happenstance because it happened a lot of times. Every time the Johnny Depp guy went in, Captain Jack, now you got to remember, Captain Jack's character was added to Pirates of the Caribbean later on, so that wasn't an original thing onto the ride. So every time that character, that guy, when it rained, went into Pirates of the Caribbean, the ride broke every single time. And I could attest to that. And another strange thing, which was a very, very bad thing, was that one of the times that he went in there with his assistant. And I think the guy called himself Mac. He was just a guy, kind of like a Mr. Smee character, who would be like the butt of the jokes and things like that. And very sadly, one day when it was raining, they both went into Pirates of the Caribbean. They were actually walking toward the back end of it. And Max slipped on something on the floor, and he ended up hitting his head. He got a concussion from that. They took him to the hospital, and he later passed away. So it was a really, really sad story. So I don't know if that can really be attributed to a ghost or an entity or anything like that, but that was one of my experiences. The only other one I could tell you about, now I could tell you that the phones oftentimes would ring in Pirates of the Caribbean. They would say George was doing it. That's something you could explain by someone calling the phone number, but it would happen at very, very strange times, and very, very odd that it would happen at those particular times. But I don't think I would consider that really a paranormal activity. And so one other thing I want to tell you about, hold on. So you're going to see some of the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. Hope you don't mind. One other thing that I'm going to tell you about, which was even more eerie that I could tell you about, and it also comes from not the Dream Squad days. It comes from the COVID shutdown. Now, when Disney was shut down, if you remember, Disney was shut down from March 12th to July 11th. And I had the privilege, or whatever you want to call it, to actually work in the Magic Kingdom during that time to protect the park. And that's a video all in of itself, to be used to 70,000 people or so guests in the park, and then you only have like 25, and that's a video all in of itself. But the strange part of that was, I could tell you that with the shifts of security that we had walking around, there was a strange feeling inside of the comedy laugh floor, not where the show actually takes place, but the room behind it, which was just basically a dressing room. And, there was a mirror back there. So the way the show works is, if you've never gone on that show, characters come out and it's on a 3D screen, and they can see and hear the audience, and it's Monsters, Inc. So really, really cute show. But for some reason or other, and I can't figure out why, and I did really feel this, is that, we used to get together and we used to talk about, at night, what we saw, and we were basically going around the park, making sure people didn't come into the park and video while the park was closed. It was a really weird time. But we would come back and we would say, it's really odd in the back of that room there, and I really don't like to go behind comedy laugh floor. And what was strange about it was, and this also echoes the stories I was telling you about the George stories, and that, when you work, I've had a couple different hats in Disney. I've worked guest relations with Dream Squad, and I've worked security, and I've worked monorail, and, monorail and security, they're kind of different divisions, and to say that they're less magical really wouldn't be appropriate. But certainly, when I worked merchandise and when I worked guest relations, it's a different breed of cast member that kind of goes in for that job. Working security, I don't, the requirements now have been a little more relaxed, but when I worked security, you had to be either former law enforcement, former police, or you had to have a 4-year degree. So a different kind of person was on security. And when you hear people like that, look at that, one of the most famous scenes in Disney, the hair on the leg of the pirate. That's a classic if you've never seen it. When you hear people who are of that ilk talking about not wanting to go in that back room and feeling like temperature changes and things like that, it's kind of different. You kind of stop and take notice. And again, they really don't talk about it too much. They're really not versed in these kind of things. For me, we had a card store for 30 years, and I was blessed with being able to go to work and have my own store and, not have ridiculous conversations, but we could just kind of talk about what we wanted to. And, we didn't have to worry about, we were never really not politically correct, but we could just go in there and talk. We didn't have to worry about, sounding a little crazy. We could talk about UFOs or Bigfoot or something. It didn't really matter. But, people on the police, people in the military, they don't have that privilege. So hearing those kind of folks talk about that, hearing them talk about that, maybe stand up and take notice. So again, if you guys have had any experiences at Disney, again, I guess the reason this is so strange is because you would think, now I can tell you another thing, and this is probably subject for another video too. There's a thing called a Code A at Disney, and it's, when they drop ashes on the Haunted Mansion. You would think that would be a place, and it happens a lot. Now, you would think that would be a place where there would be some paranormal activity with the Haunted Mansion and whatever, but no, it's not. So I don't know if you guys have ever had any experiences like that, but again, this is the Disney Daily, part of my Kindred Souls of Brooklyn and Sarasota channel. I hope you enjoyed it. And again, this is episode 1 called the Disney Daily. I'm going to do an episode every day. I'm going to try to either do a short or a longer video like this one, because I'm off today, and just basically talk about Disney. So let me know what you think. If you have any ideas for some topics, please let me know. Because, having worked in the Magic Kingdom over 8 years and knowing this place up and down like the back of my hand, I have a lot of stories to tell. And, I'm not about telling the secrets, because I do want to work for the company one day. So these really aren't secrets. I'm not going to ever do a video backstage or nothing like that. That's not what I'm about. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. to the first episode of the Disney Daily. This is Al signing off. I love you, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.